El Salvador, Cuscat land, and the land of volcanoes all refer to the beautiful country located in Central America. Known formerly as República de El Salvador, the nation has recently seen a boom in tourism. However, from 2013 to 2015, it had the highest homicide rate in the world, as high as an active war zone. However, today is widely considered one of the safest countries in the Americas. Recently, I was given a chance to go to El Salvador, and for the first time ever, I didn't think of El Salvador as a dangerous country. But I wonder why. What changed? Who changed it? How can a nation change so much in 10 years? To answer my question, we must first go to some of the worst years in the country. This is a map from 2011 to 2022, taken from the World Bank data, showing intentional homicides rate per 100,000. In 2015, the nation was voted the world's most dangerous countries at 108 per 100,000 deaths, as seen with the peak of this graph. This made Salvador statistically more dangerous than Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Chad, who are all fighting actively in a war. The box I highlighted is a drop where a new president entered this picture and dropped it to one of the nation's all-time lowest. This data shows that from 2015 and 2022, the nation dropped its homicide rate. How can it go from 108 to 8 in 7 years? The answer lies with the government implementing a heavy-handed, military-backed approach to dismantling gang structures, which we will talk about later. This is the world's data. It shows the world's decline during the same time. This is due to the fact that the world is experiencing less poverty, according to the United Nations. In the data, you can see that from 2015 to 2022, the big rectangle, and from 2019 to 2022 as well. Here's a side by side that shows the decline of the world more clearly. However, it's more important to see how the homicide rate was before the decline and the following years. Now, we go to the main cause of the homicide rate, MS-13. The gang was famously known for being the country's main gang. The gang's origins come from outside of the nation, from citizens fleeing for their lives after the Civil War. The gang was set up for drugs, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and arms shipping. The gang was known to be ruthless, dangerous, and heavily tattooed, helping with identification. The gangs mata, baila, controla, kill, rape, and control, terrify the communities that they controlled. They would extort local communities and play a huge role in the exportation of drugs both in the country and in the United States. Killing and kidnapping would play a daily part in life under MS-13. The killings we saw in 2015 were mainly due to the government attempting to decrease the presence of MS-13. The government has always known about the presence of such gangs in the country, as Mauricio Fuentes secretly brokered a truce between the two gangs. In exchange for keeping the murder rate down, the leaders would be removed and be put in lower level prisons. This will later end up with Fuentes being sentenced to 8 years for explicit association and 6 years for failure to perform duties. The year 2012 saw a slight decline up to 2014. But after the talks were broken down, this led to a new peak in 2015 with stronger influence from leaders, leading to the peak of the conflict. Sanchez Serran from 2016 to 2018 ordered more military crackdowns on these gangs. This period was controversial for the state violence, with both the United Nations and human rights organizations calling out the death squads that became prominent during this time. We then get President Nayib Bukele, who broke down heavily on the gangs and is currently the president of El Salvador. Before becoming president, Bukele was a businessman in the marketing and advertising industry. He was working under his father before entering politics. He joined the Partido Nacional Liberación Front political party, also known as FMLN. He was soon elected to be the mayor of Nueva Cuscatán, the mayor of San Salvador, and finally the president of El Salvador. He was campaigned in the hopes of destroying corruption, ending violence, and battling for a new and improved El Salvador. His slogan, "There's enough money when no one steals." His first presidential election victory on February 3rd, 2019 saw him securing 53% of the votes as a candidate for the Gana party, not the famous Partido Nacional Liberación Front FMLN, as a political party or arena parties. He campaigned a lot of younger voters, using social media to connect with younger voters and bypassing traditional media outlets. He quickly enforced Iron First policy, which saw heavy actions against the gang and development of heavy security protocols. In his first year alone, he was able to drop the homicide rate by as high as 50%. He fired high-level administrations, and they were seen as corrupt or inefficient. In February he sent out armed officials to the Legislative Assembly, known as N5 or El Bocusole, for a $109 million plan for security. This was supposed to be a show of power, that now the president was stronger than the legislative branch. In 2021, he made Bitcoin legal tender alongside the US dollar. He reduced municipalities from 262 to 44 and reduced the legislative assembly from 84 to 60 seats. At the time, El Salvador was a constitution prohibited consecutive re-election, but with his high approval rating and approval from the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court interpretation of the Constitution in 2011 to allow it. He was reselected with 80% of the popular vote. During his time, many of the nation's citizens approved of his actions, but human rights organizations argued that human rights violations were done under his control. In particular, I focus on human rights organizations' claims. To understand more of this, I asked a professor who has studied and done more detailed research on this topic. Is your profession?
Okay, I'm Alexia Avalos, and I work in a university. I'm a professor university in Mexico.
Okay. So we're going to be asking questions about El Salvador and the human rights in El Salvador. So
Okay.
first and foremost, we'll start off with what factors have led to mass incarceration policies in El Salvador?
Well, a ver, the policies about the exception regimen, these ones are about to incarcerate people with no judge. So all the people that are incarcerated, they have not proved that they are guilty. This is the first problem with the policies, because in the regimen, they don't have human rights. So everybody can be guilty, even if they don't prove it. So this is the first problem, no? So we start in that thing. Everybody can be guilty. So we have, or well, they have, because I'm not in El Salvador, this climb of control, and I don't know how to say in English, vigilancia. So they control all the things that the people do in this kind of regimen.
Do you believe that this has led to be profiling of people with maybe non-related tattoos of maybe MS-13 or the barrios in El Salvador?
It's about what? Can you say that
Profiling.
again?
So seeing people who have tattoos and inconveniently thinking that they're members when they really are not.
Yes. This kind of problem was at the first time. In the first year, the basic problem was the image of the people. I don't know how to say in English, but I'm gonna do it now in Spanish so
Okay,
I
that's
can
fine.
explain better. El primer problema fue la imagen de las personas. ¿Cómo te ves? ¿Cómo te vistes? ¿Qué usas? Si tienes tatuajes y sobre todo si eres de una comunidad pobre. Eso ya daba la pauta, ya daba las razones para ser una persona encarcelable. Si tenías un tatuaje o varios tatuajes, y no necesariamente de maras o de pandillas, podías ser encarcelado, porque era una cuestión de cómo se ve la persona. ¿Sí? I don't know if I'm being a little bit clear of that. How the people look, even if they don't have a look about gangs or pandillas, tattoos about that. can be whatever tattoo you have. You can even be incarcerated for that. So this was at the beginning, and then it changed a little bit. It's not about only for the tattoos. It's not about only for how you look, and it's now about where you're from. If you are from a street that is like a vulnerability street, or like a poor street, you can be able to be a gang, because they don't make a good research about who you are, and they look better who you're from. And that's the difference.
And you
So
can't, oh, my apologies. And
no,
you can't
do
prove
it.
that you're innocent if there's no trial within these 72 hours.
Exactly, because there's no trial, and their trials are in community. They took like 90 people, or I don't know how many are now, but they do a collective trial. All the people that are supposed to be guilty, they do it in the same time, and they make a trial about everybody of the community, and they can be in one community, or two or three communities in these poor communities, and they do it for all the people. And that's why it's a problem, because it's not like a personalized trial. It's not about you. It's about where you from, and where you or do you where do you from, and where do you how to say pertenecer. I don't know how to say it in English, but it's your friends, and your community, and your school, and where you from is basically. And they made a trail about that.
Leading up, like this is a follow-up question to that one. How has President Nayib Bukele anti-gang strategy reshaped the criminal justice system? And you kind of already briefly mentioned the trials, but maybe you could go more in depth into that.
About the trails, or about what, or
Or
what about
like,
Bukele says about that?
yeah, like his anti-gang strategy, like how his policies have affected the criminal justice system in El Salvador.
Okay, I will do it in Spanish because
Okay,
it's
that's perfectly
better
fine.
for me, so then you can translate it.
Okay.
Él generalmente lo que hace es proponer una, una propuesta de ley. Esa propuesta suele pasar a la Cámara Legislativa. La Cámara Legislativa es como la Cámara de Diputados en Estados Unidos, similar. Y estando acá se hace en plenaria, y se hace algo que se llama en El Salvador como dispensa de trámite. ¿Qué significa esto? Que la ley no pasa a un estudio, solamente llega y se va, pasa adelante, no se estudia, solamente se acepta. Es decir, que no hay un grupo de especialistas, jurados, jurídicos, que puedan analizar si esa ley es apropiada o no. Simple y sencillamente se firma. Esa es como la primer forma en cómo se utiliza, en cómo se hace. Y por otro lado, han habido otros cambios, no solamente de seguridad, que han implicado estos procesos de leyes. Cambios en la Constitución, como en la reelección, decir que antes ningún presidente se podía reelegir. Y ahora, con los cambios en la Constitución, él puede ser reelecto. De hecho, hubo una segunda elección, a lo que ciertos juristas le llaman una elección inconstitucional. Quiero ver qué otras leyes. Han habido otras leyes, como la de los agentes extranjeros, que es una ley que imposibilita o que pone aranceles, como impuestos, a los organismos internacionales que son no gubernamentales, como las ONG, como la sociedad civil, y les cobran una cierta cantidad de, como un fee, un dinero, para que ellos puedan ingresar dinero y trabajar con comunidades. Entonces, esto ha contribuido a que muchas organizaciones no gubernamentales de sociedad civil, sobre todo las que están enfocadas en medio ambiente, feminismos, salud, educación, no puedan ingresar al país. Y sobre todo, organizaciones sobre la democracia, ¿vale? So these are three types of laws that Bukele has changed. You know, the constitutional, this one is about the organizations, and the other one about the security. So three kinds of laws that he has changed.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, how sustainable is this incarceration strategy in the long run?
It's a little bit hard to know
Mm-hmm.
because you cannot incarcerate all the people in a country.
2%
You
of the
know,
population.
yes, it's about, I don't think it can be sustainable. It can be sustainable in publicity, in in propaganda thing.
Mm-hmm.
That if they have a future in this 2 or 3 years in future, and they have just making people inside of the jails and put it over there, it can be sustainable in 2, 3, or 4 years, because it's like the people, the population, the people knows that they are working
Mm-hmm.
in security, but I think it's not possible in a long term, in a long time, because you cannot put all the people in jail and on incarcerate all the people. And I think they gonna do it just about this time. I don't know if they gonna do it like in 10 years. I think they gonna change this model. And the regimen is more for the people be calm and not make revolutions and things like that. And it's not about to incarcerate all the people now.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. So they make like a propaganda that they are doing the security thing, but it's more for not doing the revolution. I don't know. I know that the word revolution is like a kind of weird in these times. No?
Mm-hmm.
We live in a capitalism world, so it's not a thing of left thing and right thing now. Is not like a polarized thing right now, but I think is the kind of not collective action of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people have fear about go out and be like in a collective action and do it this I don't know how to say it, this march, this walking in the streets and like arguing for the human rights and things like that. So the regimen is to stop this kind of things, is make fear in the people that they can be uh, in they can be in jail if they say what they want to say. It's a thing about um, the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. These both things. So it can be support like a long years, but not encarceling people, not putting people in jail just for the propaganda. I think it can be possible for 5, 6 years if you want, but I don't know if it's sustainable about more of 10 years. I don't know. I don't think so. And
Uh,
it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
it,
You have to spend a lot of money in these people that is inside of the jail.
mm-hmm.
And I think in one moment is not I don't know, I don't have the academic paper to affirm this thing that I'm going to say, but I think in the future they going to use these people that is inside of the jail for votes in elections. You know, I think they're gonna use it. They're gonna change something for the freedom of these people if these people can vote for him. I think I think it can be something that he's planning for the future. You know, I don't have an academic paper to affirm this, but it's something that I think it can be possible. Because if you can change something that is very important, that is the freedom for a vote, I think the people can do it.
Building on about this, you mentioned like how the voting, but what other conditions like the health and safety and rehabilitation inside the jails have been changed or been affected have affected the inmates?
Okay, they have two types of jails in El
Mm-hmm.
Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the Secot, you know, the well know of this big jail that is made for the gangs, and that is very big and different. And there are another's that are the small jails that they don't make this kind of you know, they don't have health, they don't have uh, clean things, they don't have visit because they only focus on the big one, and all and the other ones are very bad, and the people are very. I'm going to say a word that is not that I don't know in English. That is hacinados. You know, well, all the people are inside in a small place, and there's a lot of people in one small place. So these two kinds of jails are different. The first one is the mediatic thing, you know, the jail that is in the television and there is in the propaganda, and the other ones they don't even show how they are, because all we know and all the people knows in El Salvador that are very bad for the
Mm-hmm.
people. You know, they have very deaths in these jails, violation of rapes of women's and men's. They have especially on the women's side, they have babies over there that have died in the jails because they don't have how to clean the babies and the boys and the girls that are inside with their moms, because in over there they have to be like a 3 or 4 years with your kids when you are in jail, because they cannot separate the child. And there is like two different kind of images about the jails, and they spend a lot of money in the big one because it's propaganda and it's good for the picture, it's good for the videos, and it's good for the press, but they don't spend the real money for the real people that are in the other ones. There are a lot in all El Salvador. So it's a kind of tricky thing, you know. Is I spend a lot of money in the one that is mediatic, but I don't spend money in the other one that are the real people. In these other jails, they have a thing that they call the package. This package, the family of the people have to pay for clothes. It's a like an uniform, a white uniform, a shoes like Crocs. You know, the Crocs are, so they buy one Crocs, they buy one thing about personal health, like toothpaste and a toothbrush and a shampoo and a soap. That's the only they have. So they buy, the family have to buy this kind of package for the people that is for his son or for his husband or her wife, when they took them and they took from for the jail. So this not uh it's not a money that the state or the government gives to the jail. The family has to buy it, and sometimes there are reports in media that they say the family buy it and they don't give it to the people. Just they took the money, but they don't give the package to the people. So there are a lot of corruption that is not in the media, that is not, the government doesn't affirm that is it happened, but it's really happened. The press has a lot of things about that, that they say this kind of corruption in the jails. And for the other hand, about the rehabilitations, they have one program of rehabilitation, but it's only for the secot. It's not for all the people in jail. It's only for some people that is in a program. It's called, I'm not sure about the name. You can Google it, but it's a program of rehabilitation that they have, for a little bit of person that in a process of trust. They say process of trust, that they are now in trust, so he can, the people can be outside and doing things about, like, if they have to, let's put an example. If they have to repair one street, they have a specific area in the government that they do it, but then they use these people that is in jail in process of trust, so they can work with them. So these people are working with the structures of the government, for making, things like streets, or gardens in the city, or there are like cleaning, the cleaning in the streets, things like that, no. So it's about doing something for the society. This is the kind of rehabilitation, is doing things for the society. So you are not inside of the jail, you are outside, but you are doing things for the society. This is the program. It's a kind of that. Mhm.
And then this is the final question that I have for you today. How has the mass incarceration affected the families and communities? Because they're putting a lot of the sons, fathers, wives, daughters of a lot of the family members, and that's taken away from their income and their livelihood.
Okay. This is a problem because the people in El Salvador used to live in family situation.
Hmm.
You don't only live with your parents. If you are a son or a girl, you don't even live with your parents. You live with your cousins, you live with your aunt, with your uncle, with your grandma, with your grandpa. There are big families. So when they do this thing of separate families, it's a big problem, because if you take the mom and the dad and the uncles and the aunts, where do you have where do you leave the child? With your grandma, with the grandpa? But they don't work, they don't
Mm.
have a job to sustain the family.
Mhm.
So it's a big problem, because if you take all the people, and you take all the people that has a work or has a job, and you don't have to you cannot live. And then if you took your child and your sons, everything, it's like, I think it's a family broken. A type of family broken. And there are cases that are all the family inside of the jail, like, the daughter, their son, and the father and the mother is all the family inside, but they are separate because they separate women's and men's, right? So it's a kind of different. It's a kind of a difficult thing. I don't know if they have a study. I think the Cristosal, if you can Google it, maybe they have in English an inform about that, because I think 2 years ago, they make a inform about the families and how the families are trying to live the new life, being separate, but also how they do it inside of the jail, with all the people are inside, all the people in the family. So I'm not an expert in that topic, but this is the thing that I can recommend you, that you can looking for this inform from Cristosal. I can write in the chat.
Okay, okay.
So you can Google it, and they have an info about this kind of thing of the family. This is the institutional, this is unorganized. They work a lot with families and with communities now in the regiment. So maybe you can search it. So it can be a better thing that I can say it about that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
That was Professor Alexa Avalos, part-time professor, Metropolitan Autonomous University, Xochicalco. And now, to further build on what she said, after March 2022, the government declared a state of exception, leading to mass incarceration, which is to be the highest in the world during this time. During a prison system with 108,000 detainees, 1.7% of El Salvador's population is behind bars. This is 3% of the nation's male population. The second highest country is socialist Cuba, Rwanda, followed by Turkmenistan and the United States. The state of expectation removes the right to a lawyer, the right to a trial in 72 hours, and the right to be informed on why you're being arrested. This led to profiling of members and false accusations against any affiliation. President Bukele claimed that under his administration, over 8,000 innocent people were arrested but later freed. His regime, shown in the video, takes extreme measures in the maximum state. The prisoners are watched 24 hours. Some get less than 30 minutes to exercise. The prisoners are filled over capacity, with many being reported in bad conditions. Bukele built the Center for the Confinement of Terrorism, the COCOT, which opened in February 2023. The complex can hold 40,000 people and cost $151 million. It has no open visitation hours and strict rules about signs, talking, and activities. At least 470 people have died in the jails, with a high percentage being murdered. Out of the 470, more than 90% reported to be non-gang members. Foreigners who were sent to the prison spoke about the abuses they faced inside the jails. They talked about the beatings and tortures that they faced from being sent to their country of origin. The human rights groups have taken legal action and proposed a United Nations investigations to uncover and document the violations committed. It is continuing to being processed, so we will watch the continuing months to see where it would go. Moving outside of prisons, we're going to look at the social and economic growth of El Salvador. First, we're going to look at the growth of GDP. The GDP under Bukele has grown larger than ever before. The average growth of the world before Bukele hasn't seen a growth above the world average since 2011. And under Bukele, they did it twice, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, which saw one of the worst economic times of the country. The growth hasn't come from thin air, with the national debt also rising during this time. The nation's people are experiencing less poverty, with fewer people at risk of famine and food insecurity. This being the nation, this brought the nation below the average from the world and has seen a lot of the happiness rate also grow up. Finally, with all this data shown, it is hard to draw a line between the necessary and what is excessive in the nation. As a next step and coming election, it will be crucial to see how the nation progresses over the next few years. Thank you. I've been your host, Abbas and Janabi. Thank you for joining me. And I'll link in the description below the translation and the text so you could be able to read it in both Spanish and in English. Thank you so much.